You know what's wild? Royal Enfield just pulled off one of the boldest moves in motorcycle history by shipping 9,000 bikes to America. That's 50% more than their entire North American sales from last year, all to dodge some upcoming tariffs.
That's such a fascinating strategy. Racing against time to beat these 27% tariffs before the May deadline. How did they even coordinate something that massive?
Well, when you look at the logistics involved, it's pretty mind-blowing. We're talking about coordinating dozens of shipping containers, complex customs paperwork, and getting all their dealers on board to handle this massive inventory surge, all while keeping it under the radar until now.
The timing with the summer riding season couldn't be better though, right?
Exactly. And here's what makes this so clever. While their competitors will be struggling with these new tariffs driving up prices, Royal Enfield dealers will be sitting pretty with thousands of pre-tariff priced bikes ready to sell during peak season.
You know what this reminds me of? That whole situation with Harley-Davidson a few years back when they moved production overseas.
Oh man, that's such a perfect parallel. Here was this iconic American brand basically forced to shift production to other countries because of trade policies. And now we're seeing Royal Enfield, which has been building bikes in India since the 1950s, having to pull off this massive maneuver just to stay competitive in the US market.
Let's break down what these tariffs would actually mean for their pricing. We're talking about a 27% increase, which would completely change their market position.
That's the real kicker here. Royal Enfield has carved out this sweet spot in the market with their classic-styled bikes that typically run between $5,000 to $7,000. A 27% price hike would push them into a totally different price bracket, where they'd be competing with much more established brands.
So what happens when this inventory runs out? They can't keep shipping massive batches of bikes forever.
Well, that's where things get really interesting. They might have to consider setting up manufacturing in other countries, maybe even in the US itself. It's similar to what we've seen in the auto industry, where companies like Toyota and BMW have established major manufacturing operations in America to avoid trade issues.
The ripple effects through the dealer network must be significant too.
You know what's fascinating about that? I've been talking to some industry insiders, and apparently, dealers are getting creative with storage solutions. Some are even forming partnerships with other dealers to share warehouse space and coordinate inventory management. It's creating these unexpected collaborations within the industry.
So these tariffs might actually be driving innovation in how dealers operate?
Exactly. And it goes beyond just storage. We're seeing dealers develop new financing programs, pre-order systems, and even digital inventory management solutions to handle this surge. It's like this trade policy is accidentally modernizing how motorcycle dealerships operate.
The whole situation really shows how global the motorcycle industry has become, doesn't it?
That's such a crucial point. We're not just talking about American versus Japanese brands anymore. The motorcycle industry has become this incredibly complex global ecosystem where a trade decision made in Washington can impact manufacturing in India, which affects sales in Dallas, which influences production decisions in Thailand. It's all interconnected.
Looking ahead, what should we be watching for in the next few months?
Well, there are really three key things to keep an eye on. First, how quickly Royal Enfield moves through this inventory. That'll tell us if their gambit paid off. Second, how their competitors respond. We might see similar moves from other manufacturers. And third, whether these tariffs actually stick or if there's some kind of negotiated solution.
It's fascinating how one company's strategic move can reveal so much about global trade and business adaptation.
And that's really the bigger story here. This isn't just about motorcycles. It's about how companies navigate an increasingly complex global marketplace. Royal Enfield's move might become a case study in how to handle sudden trade policy changes. They saw the challenge coming, and rather than just accepting it, they found this creative way to buy themselves time to develop a longer-term strategy.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in the coming months.
You know what's really going to be telling? Whether this leads to more manufacturers adopting this kind of distributed production model, where they have manufacturing capabilities in multiple regions. It might be expensive up front, but it could provide the flexibility needed to survive in today's unpredictable trade environment.